Coby White and Patrick Williams have been putting together a solid stretch of games, both in tandem and independent of each other. And of course, last night's win over the Dallas Mavericks wasn't necessarily against the starters per se for that team. Nonetheless, the process in the terms of the evolution of those two games, it's important for them to get these reps and just to see them operate the way that they did against the team that they went against. It's just a good point of reference within their evolution, and there's going to be a dynamic in tandem that they will need from both of these two players moving forward. So I want to dive into some of the film from last night's game against the Mavericks for those two. So let's go ahead and start first with Coby White. All right, so for Coby, the last 12 games, he's at 41.5% from three, and that's 47.1% specifically off of catch and shoots. From his drives, he's averaging 9.9 drives per game, which is second on the team in this window. He's passing off of them half of the time. He has an assist percentage of 20.2%. He's really getting a lot of things done with his drives. I know a lot of people have talked about his improved handle, but it's not all just about him creating for himself. His drives are keeping the Bulls' deep offense, in flow, and it's also allowing for other players to attack off of advantages created by paint touches and him just drawing extra attention with the live dribble. Using his change of pace and his newfound assortment and bag of tricks with the live dribble. And also, he's also resulting in about 2 assists per game off of those drives in this stretch as well, which is also via his drives accounting for about 45% of his scoring attempts as well, his baskets that he makes. So let's go ahead and dive into some of the film on Coby here. All right, the first play we're going to see here, he's just spotting up. And again, we just talked about his catch and shoot in this window, 47.1%. That's extremely good, especially on a solid volume as well. Just kind of watching him, he does a great job with a wide balance going into the shot when he's spotting up. And he does a great job using a little bit of a hop into his shot just to get his puppies in order. And then the quick release. And, it's money. That's one of his best shots, his most high-quality shots that he can take. All right, this next one here, we're going to start getting into some of his drives. Because now we're going to see him in pick and roll. And look at the change of pace, the change of direction, and just the understanding of angles. So, again, we talk about his improved handle is tighter. He has more craft, yes. But how do you use it, your discernment with your newfound skill? Coby, again, as we talked about it here, he's going to snake dribble off of the screen. We got Dwight Powell in the drop, and he's at the free throw line. So Coby curls it tight, coming off of the screen from Vooch, creates extra separation away from Luka Doncic, who's initially at the point of the screen here defending Coby. As he comes over, he does a good job even before that. You see the jab step, and we're going to get to why his jab step is so lethal in terms of the dynamic of him rejecting screens a little bit later. But here, he does a great job using that jab step and knowing that it's going to be on the scouting report that he likes to reject screens to his advantage. Gets the separation early, then does a great job coming off of the screen from Vucevic tight. Navigates those tight quarters again with his improved and tight handle. Doing a great job just changing speeds, changing directions in this scenario. And then does an even better job here as you see him throw it over on the snake dribble. Showing it almost as if he's going to pull up. And that forces Dwight Powell to close the airspace. And again, Coby, understanding angles within his change of pace and direction, is able to gain leverage off the pickup point and then gets into that soft touch finish off the right hand from the glass. Just an extremely impressive drive there from Coby. I know it kind of looks basic, but he has a lot of craft that he's really infused his game with via the drives. It's not always just about the shaking. It's not always just about in and outs and between the legs and crossovers. Just being crafty with your discernment and how you're using your newfound skills. And that's the space that Coby's been in, especially over the last 12 games for the Bulls. All right, this next one, we're going to see him get into, it's just a basic drive, but we're going to zoom back in on it a little bit more because for Coby, gets a little bit of a screen here from Javante, like a little bit of a pistol screen. He's just kind of getting in the way. But we're going to look at him absorbing contact because along with the newfound touch, rhythm, pace, and feel with the drives and with his handle, has also seen Coby add a few pounds in terms of weight and body mass to now where in years past he would have evaded or kind of faded away from this contact. No, now which is a big part of his drives, he's dictating with playing somewhat physically, getting his shoulders in the guys, getting his chest in the guys, moving guys. And that's what we're going to see here. He invites the contact, anticipates it. Again, another change of pace, setting it up on the angle, and then gets the shoulder into his defender, discards of him. You can see the space that he creates off of it, getting into his pickup point, and then the separation is all just enough for him to get into this soft touch floater off the window. All right, and then here we're going to see him get a little drag screen here from Vooch. He's going to use it this time. And then we're going to see another part of the drives for him is his vision. And it doesn't seem like he necessarily scans the floor as much as other guards do, but for Coby, he plays off a feel. And that's what, in a lot of dynamics of his game, even on the defensive side, he plays off of just general feel. So him being able to get into this screen here with Vucevic, understand where the defense is, and sees that Reggie Bullock, the low man who's guarding Patrick Williams, is peeled in early for this to help out and aid on the roll from Vucevic. Coby does a great job with his timing on this pass to Pat. Waits for Reggie to commit fully to it and then skips it over to Pat Will. He's able to beat the rotation because of the pace on the pass as well as the accuracy and the timing on it. And Pat Will is able to burn him on the second side. All right, and then here we're going to see, as I talked about earlier, Coby getting into his rejects on screens. He's one of the better guards in the NBA generally with rejecting screens. And he does it, and he's so good with it because of the pace he plays with, his quick first step, as well as just the level of unpredictability that he has, especially with the live dribble. And we see it here. Sets it up with the little throw over, and then we get a little bit of change of pace. And then we see him instantly getting downhill. He gains the leverage off of the reject, and now he's attacking drop coverage. And he's able to snake it. And again, the pace at which he's playing at, using his speed to his advantage by playing at multiple speeds, which is something I'm sure he spoke on with Chris Paul and DeMar DeRozan when he was training with them over the summer, gaining knowledge and gaining game from those two guys. We see it here on display. Uses his change of speeds and change of pace to his advantage, and then gets into a good pickup point well inside the free throw line. And again, we talk about him understanding angles and using his handle to navigate tight quarters. Another part of your handles is being able to understand leverage, angles with shoulders, and driving angles as well. Gets the leverage on Morris here, getting inside with his shoulder. As you can see him kind of tuck it a little bit, keep it a little tighter, and shield the ball away as well. All important, getting him into this spot to where he can finish off the glass. And he's able to get it up, +1. All right, and then this was a point of growth for Coby because in seasons past, he would have been Dalen Terry here. So they get a turnover here, and there's only 15 seconds on the clock to end the half. So, again, understand the scenario and time and maturing as a player, allowing for you to be able to think the game through. Coby would have been Dalen here years past. He was attacking, and he's probably going to go and try to put up a shot on the basket, of course, with the advantage with the defense not being set yet. But Coby, understanding scenarios and being more of a veteran now, calls for the ball from Dalen, gets them reset to attack late in the clock, again, just before the halftime buzzer. And he's going to get into a nice little pick and pop play here with Vooch. Does a great job, again, using the reject to hold the drop defender, being Dwight Powell, below the free throw line. As you see him use a little cross here, a little misdirection, and understands that he's already attracted to with Powell being in the drop early and shaded over a little bit more to kind of help aid on a potential reject. So he does a good job understanding that, gets a little behind the back pass there, nothing flashy about it. It's all about reading angles and understanding how to open up a teammate in this scenario. And he does just that. And Vooch knocks that down. All right, and then on this rep here, we're going to see Coby doing a great job off of the wide action. Again, nothing's there, so instead of holding it and bleeding away the shot clock, he gets off of it quick, respaces. Io gets a little bit of a drive here as they kind of look at the middle third to see what's going on with Vooch. It boomerangs back to Coby, and something I like about his game a lot, especially when he's one pass away, the threat of his shooting is going to force a quick closeout more often than not. And by nature of that, when he has his feet in the air, as you can see here as the ball on the way, he's already loading up. This stampede dribble, which is essentially when a player has their feet getting ready to move on the flight of the pass to them to make their drive a little bit quicker, more effective, more explosive. That's what we're going to see here. So Coby's one pass away, and Reggie Bullock is there guarding him. And by nature of this stampede dribble, again, Coby using his speed, and then also in addition to all of that, like we mentioned a few reps ago, absorbing contact, inviting contact. Does a great job getting his shoulder into there, and that attracts the attention of Bertans at the rim, puts essentially two to the ball in this scenario. And then again, Coby playing off a feel. He doesn't ever look at Derrick Jones Jr. here. He's reading everything that's in front of him. So he's looking at the extra help, understands the rotation of the defense, meaning that if Bertans is sinking in, is helping to put the fire out from Vucevic to him at the rim, that means that Derrick Jones Jr., who's in the corner, his man is going to have to sink in. And McKinley here is just watching, and he's supposed to be the X-Man. Coby does a great job absorbing, doing all of that, making these reads in real time, and then again fires a great pass over to Derrick Jones Jr. with great pace so that he can get up his shot without having to rush it before the closeout. And DJJ is able to knock that down. All right, and then on this final rep here, we're going to see a little bit of a pistol screen set from Terry Taylor. And then this is really going to be the part that we're looking at here, because Coby does a great job as we see Holiday jump in the passing lane one pass away on Derrick Jones Jr. Coby's going to do a great job navigating the hand help here. Talking about his handle, it's not always about the shake again. It's not always about making guys fall, all of that stuff. Sometimes it's just navigating tight quarters in a composed manner and keeping your handle without losing your rhythm and flow. And that's exactly what we see here from him. You see the navigation of it, this little throw ahead. This is a sign of a great ball handler when you're able to use this little bit of a separation dribble in tight quarters and navigate hand help to keep yourself moving. If you can do this consistently, this is how guys like James Harden were navigating the extra attention that they saw. Luka Doncic does it well. And you can name a lot of other players, John Morant, where they navigate the hand help that's eventually going to come and keep themselves moving. And now he's playing within an advantage off of the dribble because he's able to get past his defender, gain leverage, get a paint touch, and because of the spacing and where the defenders are, he's able to get a clean look at the basket on a layup here. Coby's just been doing a great job with his fundamentals and using the blend of his skill sets from athleticism, quickness, as well as the game handle and the strength, all to make himself a better basketball player for the Bulls. His dynamic for this team moving forward is going to be essential. All right, and as we transition to the Patrick Williams part of the film session, everything with him is rooted in consistently being confident. He's shown it in more frequent spurts since the All-Star break, in the post-All-Star break section of the schedule of the season. It's been consistent, but he can do more on volume. And, I mean, his efficiency numbers since the All-Star break speak for themselves. He's at 50.5% from two, mostly off of pull-ups, of course. And he's at 46.2% from three. And even more specific from three, he's at 46.7% on his catch-and-shoot opportunities. Last night against the Mavericks, he had a season-high 23 points, and he also had a season-high of 9 field goals made. And the efficiency of his numbers have been very good, but the fact that they're that good suggests that he should be taking more shots and being more aggressive on offense. So the premise of this film session is to kind of highlight his confidence and speak to how much more this team is going to need him to be confident to take more of a volume of shots out of the pie of the team, especially as these games grow more important moving forward against Toronto in the play-in room. So let's go ahead and dive into some of Patrick Williams' reps from last night's win over the Mavericks. So this first one we're going to see is just kind of kick over to him. He's going to feed it to Vooch, but we're going to pay attention to him being stashed one pass away and him being in catch and shoot off of those spot-up opportunities. That's the dynamic of the game, like I mentioned, especially since the All-Star break, that he's been keyed in on and he's been hyper-efficient from at 46.7% on these shots. And he just needs to really hone in on these and just continue to knock them down with confidence, and that's exactly what we're going to see here from him. Catch, shoot, no hesitation, doesn't even look to pass it back, knocks it down. Another dynamic of his game that we're going to need to continue to see more of from him being aggressive is with his mid-post touches and his touches on the block. Here, he does a good job showing that he's ready, being aggressive, saying, I want the ball, with his body language and his demeanor. But for me, I would like to see him, once he gets into this position right here, like, this is where you're going to be most advantageous off of this post touch. 2 feet in the paint. Patrick is a very strong young man. He should be holding his position here and not allowing for himself on the catch, as we kind of fast forward a little bit, to be pushed off of his spot all the way to where a logo would be on the court in the mid post. You want to see him catch this here rather than here. Nonetheless, he does a great job of showing that he's ready for the ball and then doing his work from a spot on the floor where he's comfortable with in the mid post touch of isolation. Getting to his spot, gets a little bit of a back down in there to regain some of the leverage that he lost in positioning, and then knocks this down. That was a solid rep, but I would love to see him be even more demonstrative and be even more of a bully on the block, using his stature to his advantage and really taking advantage when teams decide to put smaller players on him. And then this rep here, we're going to see the Mavericks downing or icing Coby White in this empty corner pick and roll rep with Vooch. He's going to do a good job getting off of it quick. You're going to see a good cut here from the baseline from Ayo Dosunmu, and then a good replace on the sink here from Patrick Williams on the second side. Vucevic is going to hit him. All that is going to allow for Patrick to be in isolation in the middle of the shot clock, giving him enough time as well as enough real estate to do his thing, get to his bag, and operate from spaces on the floor where he's comfortable. And that's exactly what he's going to do here. Get into a nice between-the-legs cross to get some separation. And then again, being consistently confident is everything with Patrick Williams. And we saw a lot of that last night en route to that season high for scoring. And then here, in addition to the confidence factor, is Patrick Williams being somewhat unheralded with his ability to navigate as the ball handler in pick and roll. We saw a handful of reps in the second half against the Mavericks with him in the small ball lineup as the 4 or the 5 when Derrick Jones Jr. might not have been on the floor. And here we're going to see him, those two, in this pick and roll here. We're going to see Pat do a great job, again, just navigating it with this handle that's grown a lot this season. It's also underrated. And just him showing and displaying his versatility on offense. He's not just a spot-up guy. He's not just a cut guy. He's not just a post-up and isolation guy. He has some untapped potential handling the ball in pick and roll. And we see it here. He does a good job evading, playing off of the angle, and then gets into this N1. Great finish. And then here we see another rep here with Derrick Jones Jr. This time, Pat's going to do an even better job getting to his left hand, and then doing a great job being patient, but being sudden enough to where he's able to change speeds and just kind of keep the defense off balance, and then getting to this pull-up here, getting to his left hand. Again, he just understanding his spots and where he operates best at on the floor and being able to navigate to them. For a player with the untapped potential that Patrick Williams has, this is important for him. These reps, regardless of who the opponent is, they're just all important. And Doris Burke actually talked about it earlier this season when they were going against the Boston Celtics in Boston for the first time, where she mentioned that a young man like Patrick Williams just has to continue to get these type of reps so that he can better understand his game, have these reps on film to meditate over, and then apply in real time when these opportunities present themselves. And that's really what we've been seeing a lot more of post-All-Star break from him. And then this last rep here was just another good rep with him playing off of the pop. This is another untapped dynamic that he definitely has in his skill set, versatility-wise on offense. So a lot of times we see Nikola Vucevic setting an early offense screen or setting the middle of the shot clock screen and then just popping off of it and parlaying into another play, whether that be a dribble handoff, whether that be a throw into a pick and roll, or him just playing the isolation, getting into a Barkley dribble, getting into the mid-post, as we kind of see here with Patrick Williams. And we're going to see him just play off of the pop, does a great job getting into the dribble. Barkley dribbles himself into mid-post position, and then you don't hit this shot, you don't even take this shot if you're not comfortable in your skin and you're not confident with your skill set from that space on the floor that you're navigating yourself to. And we see this bully Barkley dribble here from Patrick Williams. Navigates and negotiates himself all the way from the beyond the arc, all the way into near the block on the low post. And he's able to get this nice finish off the glass. This is just the type of confidence and the flow that the Bulls need Patrick Williams to operate in, especially with this play-in game coming up against the Toronto Raptors and the multitude of defenders and lengths that they'll have to navigate and operate against in late shot clock situations like this one. And just the general film that Pat put on display from that win over the Mavericks last night is going to be what they need from him, as the playoffs are going to be a great measuring stick for his growth on the highest level.